Welcome to the Cold Steel Surgical Podcast with your hosts Amir Farouk and Chad Ball.
As part of our Surgical Foundations course, I was asked to give a talk about the joy of surgery. And so I wrote down a few of my thoughts about what makes surgery joyful and perhaps how we can rediscover the joy in our profession and think about how we overcome the barriers and challenges that prevent us from feeling joy within our profession. Certainly, these are just my thoughts, and in no way, shape, or form am I any expert. And I feel just as much frustration and anger and sadness as anyone who's in the profession of surgery. So these words are mostly a reminder to myself, and maybe you'll find them helpful as well too. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback, and enjoy. Imagine for a minute in your mind's eye going to a funeral, parking the car, and getting out. As you walk inside the building, you notice the flowers and you see the faces of friends and family you pass along the way. You feel the shared sorrow of losing, the joy of having known, that radiates from the hearts of the people there. As you walk down to the front of the room and look inside, you suddenly come face to face with yourself. This is your funeral. All these people have come to honor you, to express feelings of love and appreciation for your life. As you take a seat and wait for the services to begin, you look at the program in your head. There are 4 speakers. The first one is from your family, immediate and also extended. Children, brothers, sisters, nephews, nieces, aunts, uncles, cousins, and grandparents who have come from all over the country to attend. The second speaker is one of your friends, someone who could give a sense of what you were as a person. The third speaker is from your work or profession, and the fourth is from some community organization where you've been involved in service. Now think deeply. What would you like each of these speakers to say about you and your life? What kind of husband, wife, father, or mother would you like their words to reflect? What kind of son or daughter or cousin? What kind of friend? What kind of colleague? Congratulations and welcome to this wonderful new chapter in your life, and welcome to this profession. This is the beginning of a profound journey, a journey that will take you many places and give you experiences that not many other people will see. How many other people in the world will be able to say that they touched a beating heart with their own hands, or administered drugs that literally can keep someone's heart beating when it has no business doing so? Open someone up and put their finger on a bleeding vessel to save their life, or with your own hands delivered a new human being, felt them in your arms, warm and soft, taking their first breaths into a new world. On this journey, there will be highs, and there will be some very low lows. There will be days where you feel exhausted, where you feel that you are drinking from a fire hose of knowledge, where you will make a mistake that will hurt a patient very badly. One of the things you will see a lot of is death. And yet, ironically, most of us spend very little time talking about death or thinking about it. That exercise that I talked about is from Stephen Covey's timeless book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it's from the section in his book called Beginning with the End in Mind. In it, he asks the reader to envision attending their own funeral. As part of our medical training, we've probably all been asked to go into a patient's room and listen for the absence of a heartbeat, feel for the lack of a pulse, and document when that person took their last breath. That is a moment that will come for us all. The Stoic philosophers remind us, memento mori, remember that you will die. And rather than make us feel depressed, Stoics and other philosophers point out that the knowledge that death comes to all of us should energize and help us to remember what our purpose is. Remember those residency interviews you did not too long ago when someone asked you why you wanted to be a surgeon? Hold on to those reasons that you said in those interviews very tightly. When faced with human suffering, when faced by the moral injury of working in a system that does not always work in the best interest of the patient, and when faced with the cynicism of some of our own colleagues, it can be so easy to become jaded, bitter, and self-serving. But every patient we see should be a reminder of our own mortality, our own vulnerability and fragility, and as long as we are not the ones lying in the bed, we have an opportunity and a moment to leave behind our legacy. And that legacy is not just about medicine and the work that we do as physicians, but about how closely we stay true to who we are and what we believe in. As the spirit of Mufasa says in The Lion King to his son Simba, remember who you are. In my first year of practice over the summer, I had a really tough week of call. There are levels of busy, but general surgery busy is busy. Every day we were seeing and taking care of dozens of sick patients. The whole team barely had time to eat or to go to the bathroom, let alone time to sit down. While I and the senior resident were operating, the junior resident and medical students would be down in the emergency department, seeing consults or dealing with sick patients on the ward. In the midst of this week, I had my first real complications, things that I had trained for years to try to avoid. In that moment, when nothing seemed to be going right, that is when returning to what motivated me in the first place, having people like my wife in my life to help me remember what those motivations were, was so incredibly important. Hold on to whoever, whatever helps you to remember who you are very tightly and never let them go. Write down what makes you, you, and return to it often. I also want to remind you that experiencing joy in any activity is not intrinsically related to that activity. Remember that there are people in the hospital that decided to become internists and psychiatrists and pathologists. They may view what you do as not only enjoyable, but perhaps gross or even barbaric. You have a choice to learn from your mistakes, to see the beauty of the anatomy in front of you, to hear the epic Hans Zimmer music playing on your 26th hour of being in the hospital. Again, this is not to say that you will not have down days and that you will not feel depressed and tired and put tremendous stress on your relationships, your body, and your soul. In those moments, it's critical to reach out and lean on your support systems, your family, your friends, your colleagues, and maybe even professional help. But how you respond is up to you. Ultimately, someday we will be the ones in the bed and someone will be reading our eulogy. Figure out now what we wanted to say. Congratulations again on beginning this journey and try to enjoy every minute of it. As Harun al-Rashid once said, this too shall pass. You've been listening to Cold Steel, the official podcast of the Canadian Journal of Surgery. If you have comments or questions, please email us at podcast.cjs@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.